It's been a very long time since we've done a tier list for a crossover. And since the Frieren crossover is the newest addition, not only Glow but also JP, I thought it'd be the perfect time to bring this back. Let's start with Ubel first, since she just came out, and I feel like she's a pretty hot topic. Ubel being this crazy sub-attacker that she is, giving you tons of support, tons of damage, tons of art gauge. It's kind of hard not to see where the value is with this unit. Personally, her worst trait is her slots. If she had like a 5-star support, she would be immensely better. In terms of her on her own, she's insanely good, especially if you're new. We talked about it before, but ridiculous support, crazy damage. Very good unit to counter any evasion boss in this game, and really good earth support as well. Not only just from the 70 art gauge passive, but also the 150% earth res down her super art inflicts. Use that alongside like War God Finn and Uzu, and you're gonna see some goofy damage numbers. If we eventually get more mono earth magic characters, I could see her being a bit better, but right now she's just pretty much exclusive to just, I would say, earth as a whole. And I also feel like if you built a mono earth team with her, she would need Evil Eye, and if you just start playing the game right now, there's no way you can get Evil Eye. Unfortunately, this is like a theme with GS where a lot of like very strong support units are from crossovers, so if you start playing after the crossover, it's like, well, you have to wait till another unit comes out that hopefully does something similar, or you just gotta wait till the crossover returns. But for right now, I would say with everything that we've seen so far with Ubel and playtesting her and just seeing all the comps come out from JP, I would say she's easily the second best from this crossover, but at the same time, I think it also depends on how you view it. I could see people saying Ubel is the second best. I could see them saying she's the third best from this crossover. But right now, I'm putting her at number 2 just for the simple fact she's the only other unit from this that actually does Archgen for your team, and she's able to stack with Frieren, which a lot of people are going to be summoning for, because not only is she just really good, she's also like, you know, the main character from the anime. And since we're talking about units that kind of have mixed opinions, I would say Stark is going to be next. With Stark, I really like this character. I think Stark is so cool, especially once you get this guy going. He uses True Art like 2 or 3 times, and now he's just stacking so much Archgen. Also, if you have like his True Weapon, then he's getting even more arts passively. So by the time that you get to like max stacks on the True Art, you're at like 27 arts per second, not even including like your support units on the team, and it gets very ridiculous. Not to mention, whenever he hits, it definitely feels very impactful. I mean, I would hope so. 1000% damage and break power up, that is kind of OD. I do wish, however, that his skill didn't have a barrier. Hands down, the worst thing they could have done. Another thing that I would like to mention too is that base break value is relatively low. Sure, you can get this increased by 1000%, and that's like 30,000 break. Whoop-de-doo. If this was like a flat 5k break, 4k break, something like that, just anything more than 3k, it's just gonna feel a bit more impactful, because whenever you use his super art at times on the break values, the damage is really nice, but the break doesn't always just do a lot. And that could be due to the fact because there's no break res in the kit, or even if you are using break res, it just something about it. It's like, man, that kind of didn't feel as good as I was hoping it would. With his slots and everything, you can run break equips on him. There's also a bit of a negative here because he doesn't increase his actual break power of his kit. He only increases the break power of his super art. So if you run like Knight's Glow on him or Duke the Legendary and stuff like that, and you're like, you know, maybe I could pop this off in my super art and get the additional break ups from that, and, you know, just make those equips break like crazy. They didn't allow us to do that. With all that being said, though, I think I'm going to be putting Stark, unfortunately, as the worst unit from this crossover. Now, I don't say that as a bad thing. Every crossover has to have some loser, and unfortunately, Stark is the loser in this when it comes to the rankings. But in the overarching game, he's very strong. He's like, I would say probably high A tier, in my opinion, low S tier. So Fern is kind of ridiculous with the damage, isn't she? You get her True Art stacked a few times, and then you're just off to the races with the amount of deeps you're producing. Like, even in JP, I've been seeing a lot of like tweets and comments talking about how crazy this unit is and just ridiculous damage with all these different things. I believe if Fern had someone like a Summer Miyu for Magic, people would be a lot more appreciative of this character, With Fern for magic, she doesn't really have that, unfortunately. Like, she has the Hoka, which is going to be a great candidate with her. She has the Beta, which is great. She has Summer Ilia, which is also fantastic, but she doesn't have, like, any kind of just ramping magic damage buffer. Damage-wise, she's really good. And I think that as a unit on her own from this crossover, having the DR in her own kit is also really nice. You could play her as more of like this sub-attacker instead of like just playing her as just a straight damage dealer. Of course, just like how it was with Combat Form Malim back in the day, I hate the reset mechanic. If it just ticked away one stack of your true art, it would be really nice just so you could weave in an art here and there or something, or like you weave in your super art when you need to refresh that debuff. Some people may say, oh, it's not that big of a deal, you're having to reset your true art, but like, I don't know if you guys noticed, Fern has no archgen in the kit apart from her skill, and that's it. Of course, though, it doesn't really matter too much considering she's on mono water. She has a ton of art gauge options on there. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to be putting Fern at number 3. If you have the setup to make Fern look ridiculous with like the beta and everything, I could see a number 2 spot here. I have a very, very good point to bring up. But before we do that, number 1 is absolutely Frieren. We kind of knew it as soon as she got revealed. We were like, yeah, she's going to be the one that's the breadwinner here. Crazy arch gen, really good stats up mechanic. The cleansing damage res is just insane. Passive defense ignore, like, and not to mention that ridiculous super art that's just going to get even better when we get more and more light characters. Here's the biggest one that I don't see anyone talking about. Frieren as a new player is actually ridiculous. Not only just because of the Ascension. I had people asking me, how do you expect new players to make a mono light team? I'm not asking you to make a mono light team. One of the reasons why I recommend getting Frieren and Ubel as a brand new player is because their archgen is tied to their true art. As a brand new player, it is going to be really hard for you to enjoy the game until you get these guys ascended. And unfortunately, you have to do that through the expedition, which is going to take you a few days. Until then, though, you can still use Frieren's true art and Ubel's true art because they're awoken characters and get the archgen from those true arts. And if you are a new player that wants to get into mono light, well then, in the forever summon that you're going to be having right now, try to get Emperor. If you get Emperor, then you have a light character that can be used alongside your Frieren. Overall, though, this crossover was pretty good. We've had a lot of good support units, a lot of good utility characters come out from this, and just some overall fun units. I am really curious to see what is next when it comes to joint crossovers, if they'll do this again in the future, or if the next crossover is going to be like something crazy, or if we're going to kind of like have a cooldown period in JP for a bit and not have another crossover. I'm very curious to see what happens with that. But either way though, that's going to be it for this one. Tell me down below what you all thought about the Frieren collab. Also, let me know, how would you rank the Frieren units? Did you agree with my rankings? Do you disagree? Let me know all that type of stuff down below in the comment section. Oh, and one more thing before you all leave, don't forget to drink water.